An easy one for that is chunky crab shells and just spread them around the top of your soil, around the base of your plant when the crabs won't, the crabs, the slugs won't crawl over the shells.
But then
Red Lobster tech.
Red Lobster tech.
Yeah, send it.
All right, guys. Well, welcome back. We have an awesome guest with us today. We got Jeff from the Soil Makers. How's it going, dude?
Hey, what's up, man? How's life?
Good. I'm ready for this rain to be over so we can finally enjoy some of this weather and getting out there in the garden. But rain's on the schedule apparently.
Yeah, so. The plants have been loving it though. If you look outside, everything is green and lush, man. So it's a good spring for a setup for summer, right?
That's it. Yeah, I mean, I can't complain too much because anytime I can get away from having to water the garden, I'll take the rain. But just makes it a bummer for when it starts getting cold. That's what always gets me going.
Yeah,
I'm really bummed. But
you don't get to do the fun stuff like getting out there.
But I appreciate you coming to join us. Early, I know it's an early morning, so but you're an early riser anyways. So
yeah, for sure.
But let's just get into it, man. So Soil Makers, this is a organic garden amendment company. Is that correct? I mean, give us a little bit of a background of who the Soil Makers are.
All right. So basically, we create and manufacture organic living soils. So potting soils that are fully amended. So you don't have to add any fertilizer, at least for the get-go. I mean, you can run water only the whole way through, but there's ways to fine tune that soil to make it better, but you can't put everything in the bag off the get-go, but it's basically the closest you can get to a water only. And then we have a bunch of, so we basically made the store because it was so hard to source quality organic ingredients. Like you could find, plant tone and, stuff at garden centers that had, things that you would possibly want in it. But, there was nothing like, raw amendments or choices of raw amendments or, mixes of high quality raw amendments without blood or bone meal or, anything, that we consider a dirty amendment. Right. But yeah. I mean, so basically we just wanted to create a clean soil and products to go along with that and kind of ran with that. I mean, it all started from, I owned a landscaping company for probably 10 years, 10, 11 years. And it was originally was just like lawn mowing and stuff like that. And then we merged into like gardening, and then it was kind of like garden build outs. And then it was like organic land care. And then we were like, we can't even source these products. So we were like, there's a need for that. And, so we just started bringing stuff in and like trying to source it, and ended up meeting some really cool people along the way. And then, the soil came about, and then, we were making our own soil for years, and we were like, we should teach people how to do this. And that's why we named it makeorganicsoil.com, is we wanted to teach people how to make organic soil. And, I think most people don't even know what organic soil is. They just think it's not fertilized, right? I mean, that was the whole thing. It's like, if it doesn't have fertilizer, it's organic. And I think that was like this huge misconception that like, there aren't like organic fertilizers per se. And there are. I mean, there's natural things all across this world that are covered or full of minerals and nutrients. And it's just about finding the ones that are the cleanest and, most sustainably sourced, and then bringing those in and working with them and trying to create a quality product with that. And I think we did.
Yeah. I mean, it's, like I've said, since I've met you guys, you guys are local to me. So I like the fact that I'm able to go down there. I'm able to see where you guys are packaging it. It's you guys have your hands on it. You're figuring out where it's sourced. And there's just something special about that. I mean, like I've said to everybody and anybody that's watched me grow for a while, Build the Soil was always my go-to. and it's great, and it's worked for me, and there's no shade towards what they got going on, but I don't buy something that's all the way from across the country. I'd rather be able to go down and build a relationship with you guys, right? Like that.
Yeah, sure.
That sounds way more enticing to me than spending my money and sending it across the, United States. So
Yeah.
I've switched over pretty well. I know Nerd had recently just gotten some stuff from you, but most of my stuff, I mean, I've got all my old soil, but all your amendments have been in my garden for a few runs now, and they do really well.
Awesome, man. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, Same. The one thing that I like particularly about your guys, say if we're just comparing it to the other one, compared to taking big huge clumps of compost or whatever it is to top dress it, the end game that you guys have, I really like that because it's not taking up a bunch of space inside my containers, right? I can just top dress that, and then it's just that little thin layer of whatever we got going on in there, and it's not like I'm not packing my earth boxes by the end of a couple grows. So that was about how you guys got going on.
Yeah. I mean, it's really about just dialing it in, right? I mean, finding what works best for you. I think that's the big thing we've learned is like, originally we were putting, we had one soil, we had the elite, and we put everybody in it. And we saw a few hiccups here and there of people who just, a little heavy handed on the watering can, I mean, who isn't? So we were like, we got to fix that one part of it. And that's why we designed the Alico, and we worked on that for almost 5 years just to get it right. Cause I was like, I'm not going to come out with a better or another soil that isn't as good or better than the elite. And that's hard to do. That elite kills it. So it's like, it was like and I wanted cocoa in it. I knew that. So it was like getting that in there and then dialing in the EC. So when you add cocoa to something, you can add more nutrients to it. It'll hold a higher EC. So we packed more nutrients into it, but you just use it faster because you're drying back faster. Your plant's uptaking it faster. So so it has its everything has its pros and cons, but both soils work really well. The Alico is more what everybody else is used to, like Fox Farms or a lighter peat blend or peat cocoa or even just like straight cocoa. That would be similar to the Alico. So that's kind of why we made that. And then I think that has kind of filled that niche that people were looking for, is like a lighter living soil, and nobody was doing that. Nobody did a cocoa living soil. We see a couple now, right? I mean, it is what it is, but I mean, it's nothing like ours. Like really, when you look at it, like a lot of the soils out there, they don't have a lot of compost or castings. I mean, when you just look at them, it just looks like cocoa and perlite, right? I mean, and they call it living soil. It's hard to say. So, I think that's really a thing. Like, look at, if I had to tell anybody anything, like if you're going to go with any soil, just look at the quality of it. I mean, you can look at something and say, okay, this has a lot of this or a lot of that, or it's, it feels nice or whatever it might be. But it's just about finding something that works best for you.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no. So nerd is completely switched over to it. I think what bags did you get? I can't remember. Was it the Alico or was it just that?
I think just the elite living soil.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll say the water soluble stuff's been a game changer for me because I've never used that before. I always just top dress. Well, I do both now, but that actually helped get me through my first small pot run successfully, which was nice.
The impact and elevate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was killing bonsais before that.
Yeah, I mean, that was something new as of last year we came out with, or the last year, the year before last. It was something that we've played with for a while. Those are just really hard to get right. I mean, the first time we tested the impact recipe we made, it was like a 4-18-54, and I was like, "What? We overshot it. We overshot it." So we're like, dial that back.
Yeah.
So it took a while to really make it because it's not as easy as everyone thinks. You can't just throw a bunch of shit together and add white ice water and have amazing plants. I mean, there's more to it. So.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, but I mean,
I thought I was gonna be able to just grab a bunch of shit and just throw it together. But
I mean, it's totally doable. I just think on a massive scale, right? Like if you want to use that thing over and over and over again, you got to make sure you're not putting too much mag or too much cow or too much potassium. I mean, you'll see an overdose of potassium if you use too much, for sure. And that's the thing, is like people like to push those bloom hardeners, sweeteners, whatever it might be. and a lot of times they're doing more damage than good, you know. But
Yeah, makes sense.
so it was really about finding something that pushed them, but not too hard, where you're going to like stress them out towards the end of bloom, right? But I think
that's the idea too, right? Like you don't want to create such a imbalance in a system that you're trying to keep for a long time, right? Like you don't want to be adding all kinds of crazy shit that's going to build up or have start locking other things out or start getting toxicities of things. So I can imagine it's got to be a very, very fine balance of tuning everything in just right for a longevity of a product.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the truth right there, man.
That's definitely. I'm glad that Nerd brought that up because that was something that definitely changed the game for me. Right, like I was already using a Bloom, water soluble product, but then when I met up with y'all, you guys had just put out the Impact, and I was like, oh, there's a veg formula now. I was like, this is awesome, and that's exactly what I do. Is I do use it occasionally on my earth boxes, but my smaller containers, man, like having that, being able to keep my same style of organic growing with top dressing can be very difficult in smaller containers, right? Like that's one of the downfalls of organics is it can be a slight struggle with a smaller, with a smaller battery. But the water soluble stuff that you guys have came up with has been working perfect. And it's always just that little shot. Like if I see something starting to turn, I can get in there, water that and the comfrey. I've been hitting all my plants with that, and it's been crushing.
Yeah. So, sorry, my cat is interested in why the laptop's on the tree.
What are you doing in my
stole
home?
his toys.
Yeah, he said, excuse me. So yeah, man, that's awesome to hear. And yeah, that was a big thing. Like small pots, everybody, I swear, everybody is in small pots coming out of cocoa or like, a drip feed. I mean, who wants to buy a shit ton of soil? If you can run smaller pots and make it work for you, run it, right? But I think that was the thing. We were catering to those like that crew and people who, run autos. I mean, we don't run autos, so it's really hard for us. We had to learn a lot and really fast about those to be able to help people. I mean, and I don't like to teach things I know nothing about. I think that's a big thing on the internet is everyone's teaching each other and they don't really know what they're saying. So it's like, and I'm not saying everybody is that way. I'm just saying that there's a lot of people who should do a little more research before they teach, but it is what it is. I mean, I think everybody takes any information with a grain of salt and, kind of, test it out yourself and see what, you'll hear me say it 1,000 times, whatever works for you works. Right. I mean,
absolutely.
And I think that's what we've came out. We don't pull anybody any certain way. It's like, we recommend larger pots, but if you want to run smaller pots, we'll make it work.
Yeah. I always wonder what I remember early on when it was like, when I was watching videos and here and there, and I was like, man, when you start thinking about space, right? Like, because a lot of us will grow in tents or we're kind of confined to spaces. So when you tell somebody switch to organics, but you're going to have to go with a larger pot. And it's like that automatically turns a switch on someone's head. Like, well, now I can't fit 10 in here. I can only fit 5. But I mean, you're still going to be, you know what I mean? Like now you're able to have that massive soil that's underneath you and continually use it or maybe grow a couple plants out of it. Right. Like you're not going to deplete it quite as quick, but yeah, it definitely seems like that's a turn off for a lot of people is like when you tell them, hey, maybe you should be looking at 7 gallons and up. And they're like, well, I really don't want to run that. So
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's some people are really, they like the style they grow in. And that's why the Alico kind of works well for the smaller pots. That's really what it came down to is like we had to create something that worked better in smaller pots and would dry back, as fast as, people are used to.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, there's just so many styles of growing out there, man. Like that's the thing. It's like, there's so many different, we've had so many people come in, like we've learned so much even about, different styles and different lighting and, all different, ways to cure and dry. It's like, it's insane. You know what I mean? We're kind of spoiled in that fashion because we get to meet so many people every day who do it a different way. And, everyone thinks they're doing it the right way. Right. But I mean, it's like, if you put all that information together, you can definitely make something with that. Right.
Yeah. So. Yeah. No, that's absolutely. Well, while we're talking about some of the products that you offer, so we've said that we've got some of your soils, we've got some of your water soluble stuff. What other kind of amendments and just general stuff that you guys offer?
So basically, we do the soil and then the end game. End game is like, I mean, you mentioned that before. That's our flowering and bloom booster, terpene enhancer, yield enhancer. I mean, that's basically what we're shooting for. Is we're terp farmers, we're extract artists. We like to, to really farm for those terps. So that's what we're shooting for 9 times out of 10. We have a re-amend kit, so basically you can reuse that soil every time. So it's just take your crown of your plant out after harvesting, throw the re-amend kit down and plant right back in the same day. I literally just did it behind me right last week, so it's like It's literally same day, and you don't skip a beat. And that way you can almost get 4 runs in a year if you push it harder. Like usually it's 3 or 3.5 by the time the year turns, but it's still. You're without downtime, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's just a faster turnaround, and you can run more genetics and try different styles. And that's kind of the way we go. And then we have the compost tea blend. So that's a huge thing. Like, I think everyone we have turned down to compost teas has been like, bro, like it blows my mind now. Like,
I've been missing.
Yeah, exactly. And then, they every time they come back, they're always getting the compost tea, or now they're making their own blend, which is cool for us because it's like we have all the ingredients to do that.
Yeah.
And that was, that's a thing about our shelf, right? There's probably 50 products up there. We actually have like over 200 products, 200 different SKUs.
Yeah, you guys
but I mean, when it comes down to it, it's just different sizes of amendments. But at first we were like, we're going to confuse everybody because really, you can use our like Soil Makers line of amendments and fertilizers and never have to touch a raw amendment ever. But for those people that just want to do it themselves, man, make their own soil, make their own fertilizer, like it's a possibility. So we hold all the different amendments, at least the ones worth trying, right? And we'll even walk you through how to do it. We have no problem with that. And then we have what we call our fine tuning shelf. So it's basically like humics, fulvics, the water solubles we were just talking about, endo, our 5v9, aloe, stuff like that. I mean, it's just immune support for the plant, keeping your plant healthy. Healthy plants grow like weeds, man. Like that's the thing. I think people try too hard sometimes. It's like, just let the soil work for you. I mean, you paid for it. Let the soil do its job. It will. And I think that, and once people realize that, like, oh, I don't have to try so hard, I can focus more on training my plant. I can focus more on, controlling my environment. I can focus more on how my, PPFD hits the top of my canopy or my VPD, right? Absolutely. I mean, that's what it's all about instead of how much do I have to water today, or how much do I have to feed today, or how much of this one and pH my water down, this and that. So it's, we think it's an easier system, with a healthier plant at the end. But like I said, you just got to run it and see what works for you.
No, absolutely.
All right, we'll get back to the show in a moment, but first I have to read an ad. Are you going through a rough patch with your strain? Has your indica ghosted you again? Is your sativa seeing other people? At Mary Jane's Divorce Attorneys, we believe no one should stay trapped in a toxic sesh. Whether you accidentally married your plug, mistook a pre-roll for a prenup, or just need custody of a bong, we got you covered. Linda Carlisle from Detroit, Michigan says, I thought we'd always match bowls together, but then he bought a Volcano, and then he started microdosing without me. Don't let this happen to you. Our legal experts specialize in joint custody of actual joints, emotional terpene damage, CBD-induced gaslighting, and 100% legally binding edible agreements. Breaking up is hard to do unless you're lit and have good representation. Mary and Jane's Divorce Attorneys. We fight for your right to split a bowl and split up. Now back to the show.
Absolutely. And that's, I know another thing that you guys talk about too is earth boxes. You not only do you grow in big, huge beds, but of course, earth boxes, sub-irrigated planters. Have you gotten a chance to mess around with any auto pots or done any of that?
I have not had the chance for an autopot. Someone was talking about it with me the other day, and I was like, I'd love to try it. I mean, I literally just did like a mimic autopot. Like I just ran 10-gal black plastic square pots in a tray and just watered the tray.
Okay.
The whole time. I mean, that's basically an autopot, right? I mean, it's just not auto. It's Jeff Auto, right? So, and it smushed it. You know what I mean? It was a 4x8, and you're probably pulling 4 to 5 each. And that was like on like a 2-week veg, so
Nice. Yeah.
it's fast, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it was the veg, like I was expecting more out of it because I'm so used to earth boxes. But all my earth boxes were frozen in, and I was like, I'm not going to bring them inside and thaw them out. So it was like middle of winter. So I'm like, all right, well, we're just going to grab some 10-gallon black plastic pots and run it.
Yeah.
And like I said, they did great. It was just a slower veg. I think we're so used to that fast, immediate growth out of the earth boxes. And once you get used to that, going back to any different style is like, it's like Stone Age. It's like, stone wheels versus rubber. And it's just old school. But I mean, like I said, like I know people who don't like earth boxes or they think they're too small. I mean, there really is. So I actually I'm setting up another 10 next to this one.
Oh shit.
It's going to be a 4x4 with a ceramic metal halide 315 bare bulb under a city picker. Have you heard of the city pickers?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I got one
of those. I use.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I've always loved those. A buddy of mine had a bunch of them, and I was always going over and checking out. I'm like, that's the same thing as an earth box, just it's square, or almost square. Right? It's like 24-20.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have to try one for myself just to see because it would fit well in a 4x4. I'm just gonna do one in a 4x4, and then we just got a special brand new delivery 2 weeks ago of a new cut that we've been hunting for a long time. So that's going in that tent first.
Okay.
And it is the 91.
Nice.
We will see how that comes out.
Hell yeah. I'm excited to hear about that, dude.
Yeah. I run a 4-plant perpetual in a 4x4 with 4 city pickers, and it is tight.
Yeah. I was gonna say you can fit 4 in a 4x4. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me to like defoliate, I have to pull one out of the tent, and then I have to like slider puzzle them around. Yeah.
Like move one here, move that there.
Yeah.
I think the city pickers, I like their the reason why I stopped using them, because I had 4 of them in my grow, was I just didn't like the shape of it and how it fit into my grow. And that's why I personally stopped using it. But they are exactly like earth boxes.
Yeah.
The one thing that I did like about the city picker, though, is I think it holds a couple gallons more of soil. I think because I think
it's like 11 and change.
11 and change. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Earth boxes, they say somewhere between like 7 and 10.
So it's 10. They say 15.
I know,
which is interesting. Now I hadn't heard that until maybe a month ago. Someone walked in and said, and they were buying for 20 earth boxes, and I was like, no way, bro, because outside they suggest to mound the top. Right. So if you were to mound that top, you could fit 15 in it. Right.
Sure.
But that you'd only want to do that for outside, because then when you put your cover over that, the rain will shed. Right. That's the whole idea behind that, just to shed the rain. Otherwise, once your top layer sits into the pan, then the water will just go through the plant hole in the cover. And they're trying to avoid watering from the rain. Not that it's bad, it's just not in that system.
You don't want it to flood in that bottom and stay.
Yeah. So they really recommend outside that you mound it. I know a guy that used to do it and swear by it. He's probably got 50 earth boxes. That's all he uses.
Oh, no shit.
And then he was the one that actually put me onto them. Yeah.
They absolutely crushed.
Yeah. This must've been 2010, 2008 that I found out about earth boxes. And then back then, Jeremy and I were talking with Alan from Grow Kashi. We always used to teach back together. And I remember telling Jeremy, I'm like, dude, you got to try these earth boxes, dude. And he was running, I think he was still running 30 gal, grassroots back then.
Yeah.
And I was like, you just have to try earth boxes, bro. Like, you just have to do it. And then Alan and I were going to make a deal with Earthbox, and they made it. And Alan ended up doing it. We backed out, but it was called the Probiotic Wellness Garden. And it was Malibu compost, Grow Kashi, and then an Earthbox. And Earthbox sold it on there. It was called the Probiotic Farmer's Kit.
Oh, shit.
Earthbox sold it for years. And then and it came with EM1 too.
Okay.
And then, Alan kind of was having issues with Grow Kashi and whatnot, and ended up moving down to Arizona. I think somebody ended up dying. I don't know what happened, but everybody split up and went their way. But Jeremy started running earth boxes, and he was like, bro, like, these things are crazy. Yeah. And he still loves beds. I mean, like I said, beds are good too. Like, there's no right or wrong way. It's just, I like the speed of an earth box, the speed and the cleanliness, right? Like, you're not you don't have a tray, an open tray in your room. It's all it's contained. That's the way I like it, and I'm never overflowing the hole. So, I never have any drip out, which keeps my pan dry. And I think it's just those little things that can, keep the bad things from happening fast.
For sure. Yeah, no, I absolutely love the earth boxes. I mean, everybody knows that that's pretty much what I've stuck with for quite some time now. But yeah, that was like the first thing like that I noticed switching from pots to that is, once you get to that stage, you're talking what, like 15, 20, 30-ish days that you're able to start putting that water down there. And it's all of a sudden like a light switch has been just hit, like boom, all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, this thing's fucking taking off.
Yeah, we call it setting. Once they set their feet, man, that's it. It's just like hang on for the ride. Make sure your trellises are up.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's one of those things I always try to get people pushed over to is earth boxes because they.
Have you tried the square ones?
The city pickers?
No, the square. They have it's called the root and veg earth box.
Oh yes, I've seen that, and I really want to try that. I think they're a little bit taller. You don't like them. You don't
do it. So I'll end up doing a video for you later on this year about them.
Okay.
The insert is a no. It bends.
Oh. Okay.
So what happens is the soil sits into the water, and then the overflow hole is like here.
Oh, wow.
So your water sits in your soil. So like the only way to fix that would be to drill a lower hole, right? Like, and I'm talking like an inch lower, or just use a different insert. Inserts work. It's just it's really flimsy. It's surprising, like going from because that was a new one when Novelty got bought out. Or Earthbox got bought by Novelty. I think it was. That's when they came out with them, because we were begging them for a square pot. We were like, do like a big 20 gal pot. And they were like, we're going to do an 18 by 18. And we were like, sold, let's go. Like because at that point they were still selling the wellness garden and whatnot. And we were like, into it. We wanted Earthbox to sell our soil in Earthbox on their site. That was the whole idea behind it.
Yeah.
And when we tried out the Earthboxes, we were just like, no, we won't. We don't want to get involved in it. And I probably have 4 of them, and I run them outside just because I've drilled the lower holes, and but I mean, Drew, honestly, I wouldn't even recommend trying them.
I'm wondering if it's sagging in the middle, I wonder if there's some kind of way to put some sort of like nylon block or something in the middle. But if you're buying it, you're like, you kind of expect them to do the research and kind of perfect that product before you start having a monkey with it.
Yeah, I think City Picker had it right, man. They did the same depth and just made it bigger, instead of going deeper. Yeah. And that's what Earthbox tried to do, was go deeper. And I think with a sip style, you just get like super muck at the bottom and it's dry AF at the top. So it's like you never get that real nice Earthbox feel from them. Like, I don't know, man. Like I ran potatoes in them one year just to try different things, and it rotted out half my potatoes.
Oh, no kidding.
So it's just too wet at the bottom. Like it just needs a redesign, in my opinion. Nothing against Earthbox. Like, I love them. I'll preach them forever, but I just think that one could have been better, Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that I talked to you about it, because I always thought about picking one up, because I just like that small little, and they're what, like, are they 7 gallons, or what's the soil?
I think it's the same size. I think it's actually 11. It might be 10 or 11.
Shit.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same size as the other style. It's just square and deep,
Okay. Well, we won't be getting one of those, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you want one, I'll kick you one for the summer if you want to play with them. I got 4 or 5 of them.
Okay.
And I said, like last year I did squash in them. Like, I don't even mess with them with cannabis anymore, just because it was like, I don't want the root rot, and I don't want the issues. You know what I mean? And I don't like fumbling with things. Like you said, like when you buy something, you want it to work correctly out of the gate.
Right. So other than earth boxes, I mean, I know I've seen some of the other grows that you've shared, and you like those big beds. Tell me about that, man. I always envy those people that are able to have those big, huge beds like that. It looks so awesome to me. more hands off, right? Because you've got that big battery of soil and you're able to just kind of upkeep it, man.
Yeah, it's watering. It's just dialing that in, man. I think everybody hits that growth stage in beds, and they're like, I got blue mats, or and that's what we tell people is like, get an irrigation system. There's never a better way to water than irrigation or like a small drip, right? Like watering with a can, hand watering is probably the worst way to water plants ever. Even like top watering. I mean, it's just terrible. It's terrible for the soil. It's too fast, too much all at the same time. It's like go stick a pot outside in the rain and then see how it feels, and then water a pot like we're talking about, and you'll see the difference in the structure. It tears the silt out of the soil and brings it to the top.
Because
and that helps
soil with the water like really heavy, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's about and that goes with all pots, but with beds. If you flood them out, you're in trouble. I mean, it's, and that's the thing. It's like you really have to have your grow dialed to run a big style bed, and kind of understand organics and how they work, and then understand plant health as well. Like be able to see issues arising quickly. Yeah. Not to say that it's impossible or hard. It's a learning curve, just like any stuff, man. But once you get it right, yeah.
Have you got into messing with any of those like eco wits or any of the moisture meters?
I have not, dude. I've always just ran like regular soaker hoses or like drip tapes. I don't like having water under pressure inside. Even though like it's doable, right? I mean, I think it's just like when it's your home, it's a different thing. Greenhouse, whatever, but when you're inside a home, having water under pressure on a timer, it's a little sketch, man. But I mean, I mean, you see the videos, man. Everyone's like, I haven't done it yet, and then they're walking through 2 feet of water in their basement. So, I mean, so I've never really wanted to do that, but you can do it without doing that either. I mean, you can easily just turn it on, like have it set up where you can manually, and that's what we do. We'll just manually kick on the soakers and just let them drip, and then kick them off. I mean, it is what it is. I like I said, it's a learning curve, and then once you dial it in, it's just being able to know like your reamend schedule. I really suggest with beds just soil testing, man, because like there's no better way to amend a large bed than to just test it out and take an average of 6 cups and then send out 1 cup of that. And then
is there a certain company that you recommend sending your beds to?
Yeah, we use Logan Labs. I think they're in Idaho. I think that's right.
Yeah.
And they're awesome. Bob McKinnon's, I think is his name.
Okay.
Bill McKinnon, I don't know, something like that. He's a great guy. He's an agronomist. He'll give you like for $15, he'll tell you exactly what you need to put in. And that's we tell everybody like who soil tests, like just have them give you their results to you in a form that you can understand. Because I think 9 out of 10 people, they get their soil test back and they're kind of scratching their head like,
what the fuck am I going to do? Yeah.
I don't really know what this means. Like, it's cool. I know that my nitrogen is a 4.4, but you know what I mean? It's like, they don't have a fucking clue what it means. So it's really about having them explain it to you in a way that you can understand it, and or give you like a report of what you should add. And then understanding that, because even like when they do the recommendations, it'll say per 1,000 square feet. Okay. So people who have 5,000 square feet, they have to use 5 times what that application or what that record, because it'll say like, this is what you need to add to your garden. And then it'll be a list like 5 pounds of this, 5 pounds of this, 5. So everyone just takes their test and they go add that exactly what it says. And they're not looking at per 1,000 square feet. So some people have less than 1,000 square feet. They're adding more than they need.
Oh yeah.
So you got to look at the fine print with the soil testing. But once you understand that, once you like, you know what I mean? If you do it multiple times and like you talk to Bill, then you understand how it works. And then you kind of go from there. So, and it's pretty simple.
I've thought about doing that, at least for my outdoor garden, right? Because I just built the beds and stuff, and at least just to tune it in and kind of figure it out. So I think that's what I may do, at least by the end of the season, so I can be ready for next year. I did those big, I set up a bunch of beds out there. I was really struggling last year with a lot of pests, and it seems like a lot of people that I talked to and I'd seen, everybody's like, just get beds raised up off the ground. That seems to help with pest issues. And so far it's been working well. Now it's just fine tuning in everything.
What pests are you seeing?
So I was dealing with a lot of slugs.
Wow.
That seemed like they wrecked me last year. But that was really kind of my goal to getting them up off the ground was really the slugs because it was so rough last year.
I'll tell you, the last 2 or 3 years, the slugs were there.
They-
The nastiest I've ever seen them in my life. They
Okay,
ate
so
all
it's
my
such a
irises
thing.
last year.
Really?
Everyone, they ate all the stalks of the flowers
No shit.
before they bloomed.
Damn,
I'd never seen it in my life. Never seen anything like that in my life.
Gnarly, man. They were
So
gnarly.
yeah, this year they don't seem to be too bad overall. I like you see them normal rates, but like last year you like go out and you look at a plant and there'd be 40 on it, and you're like, what? Like where are all these slugs coming from? You know?
Okay, so maybe it was just like some weird.
They call it a banner year, man.
Okay,
That's just what it is. Like the year before that, it was a banner nut year, which is weird. You know, like all the nut trees were like they dropped crazy amounts of nuts. And it's just something that happens in that schedule. I don't know, man. It's weird nature stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, good. The fucking slugs can fuck off as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, I would say
I ain't even worried about it.
an easy one for that is chunky crab shells and just spread them around the top of your soil, around the base of your plant when the crabs won't, the slugs won't crawl over the shells.
That makes sense. Yeah, I know. I struggled with the beer traps last year. I tried that, but then we would get rain and then they'd be filled and then it'd be fucked. But then
Red Lobster tech.
Yeah, send it.
Focus was actually one that recommended Sluggo to me, and so I tried that out there, and I was like, oh well, everything seems to be working. The raised beds and the Sluggo. But no, it was just an off year. So, but cool. That's all right. I'm all right with not having them around or fighting them because they do some crazy damage. They clean.
Yeah, man, they're fast
off. But one of the other things that I wanted to mention, we kind of got off the topic of your products, but the I never say the name right. Is the Aquia? Aqueous. That shit is black. Like I accidentally got like the side of my bottle. It just has like these streaks of black. And then wherever I put it down on the concrete, it's just stained. And I'm like, all right, I've got to be a little bit more careful with this.
Yeah. Shake that stuff well too, before you use it. But yeah. It's just a super duper potent liquid. I mean, and that's how we wanted it to be. It's kind of like an oil text, you know, like it's very thick and viscous, but it's in solution, so it almost goes into like another solution even faster, and then and makes it mixed more evenly, in my opinion, for the average customer. But I mean, we have a dry mix too, which works just the same. I just kind of like the liquid because you get everything already kind of working and binding and whatnot, you know.
And that's like a humic fulvic and some other stuff going on.
Yep, it's humic. Right? It's a 5-2 humic kelp. So that specific ratio is like a big ag thing. Like that's how they apply it. Like 5-2 kelp humic. I mean, it's or humic kelp. It's just a way that it works synergistically with each other, and then with the plant to apply that perfect amount of potassium in bloom, and get it in there in a healthy format. And I think that it works really well for big ag, and I think that you can use it in small ag. It's just not using too much of it. Because we see humic acid was made for big ag because so instead of applying 400 tons of compost to their farm, they can apply 50 pounds of humic acid.
Okay.
That is the only difference. So they're like, I don't have to apply all this compost. I can just put it in my sprayer, drive my tractor around, spray the field with humic acid, and it's just the same. Yeah. So we have the luxury of being able to apply that compost in casting. So it's like, if you can do that, but I always think like a good little, push or a bump in flour to boost that potassium. And then you get the kelp with all those micronutrients, and that's just a kicker. And then we put the yucca in there as to make the water wetter, really. I mean, and then help that really keep the soil moist. So it's kind of like an all-in-one thing that we did, because there's nobody doing the yucca part of it. And that was where we were like, we want to get it in there, but it's a super expensive product. So to use too much or not enough would be, not beneficial. So it was like, we got to find the price point that works for everybody else and then make a product that works really well on top of that. Right. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I've been using it for the past couple grows, and the plants seem to love it. So
yeah, I tested that specifically for like 3 years, and I used it like every watering forever.
Okay.
And I just really couldn't see an issue with it. So, and that's when we were like, all right, let's run it, because I'll test it to the point of like, if I want to try to kill my plants, like I want to try to see, how far can I go on an app rate before it starts, really stressing the plants out.
Sure.
So, and then we can adjust our application rate off of that.
I love it. Now, one of the other things that I heard you say was, you guys focus on concentrates, and that was, I had met you. So shout out to Istig again. That he was the one that turned me on to you guys. He was the one I heard about you guys, and we had met at a convention. But then it was shortly after that you were running one of your hash classes.
That's right, man.
Yeah, so really early on, that's kind of like my introduction to you guys was running that. Tell us a little bit what got you into concentrates. Why do you love them so much?
Yeah. So maybe, I don't even know, man. It had to be 10. It has to be. So it was before we started the business. Maybe 3 or 4 years before we started the business. So got to be 15 years ago now. We knew Marcus Richardson. He owns Bubble Bags. And he was like the original, he like coined the term bubble hash. I mean, he was the one who basically, made or coined, like I said, coined that term. Right. And like ice water extraction. Right. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm trying to pack this bowl in the shit.
What are you smoking?
Ooh, some big buns. I'll have to kick you some, man. It's it's Gorilla Glue 4 crossed with and I'll put this in parentheses then. It's Fire OG times Chem D crossed with the Mac. So it's Fire OG Chem D crossed with the Mac crossed with Gorilla Glue 4.
No shit.
So it just has everything.
Yeah, give me I don't know if this you're gonna be able to see it, but
it's coming through. It's a little blurry, but
yeah, I'll find a bigger nugget. I just smoked this whole thing. So
hell yeah, there you go.
I just ripped it off the vine over there. I'm like, I need a piece.
That's awesome.
But it was our first run on that. But yeah, so anyways, we started trying to make bubble hash. We bought ourselves some bags. We were like messing with it. We really fucked shit up the first few rounds. I mean, it was like we got this mucky green shit and we're like trying to scoop it out. We were getting it everywhere. We were like, oh my God,
what is this? But
that last bag, dude, when we dried it out, it was like this brownie batter hash, dude, and it was so fire. And I think that was the forum cut days, dude. We had the forum cut. We had Wi-Fi OG. We had Goji OG. We had East Coast Sour, the Chem 4, and it was Matt Riot's Blueberry. And that's what we were pumping back then. And we ended up washing a bunch of it, and the hash was phenomenal, dude. And we were like, all right, we got to figure a way to make this easier, because when Chris and I put our heads to something, man, we make it happen. And so we talked to Marcus. We're like, we need bigger bags, because we bought these little 1 gallon bags, dude. They were teeny, and we're using like the blender thing, like the cake mixer. Yep. So we're like, we gotta fix this. So we see people using like machines. Then we started watching Frenchie videos, and we actually talked with Frenchie a bunch. And
nice.
And then we were like, let's make some machines. So we started building our own machines and like upgrading the machines that were already available. Right.
Right.
I wouldn't say we built it from the ground up. And then it was like dialing in the strains. Once we started learning, like, oh, this one washes a lot better than this one. And this is before washers was even a thing. Like I don't even know where that term came from, but it was definitely within the past like 4 or 5 years. People started calling things washers. And back in the day, it was we just washed everything. Like it was like we wanted the hash. We didn't think that there was a difference, right? We thought that everything dumped the same way. And then once we started running, like when you grow enough to run single source, that's when you get to see. Because when you're putting 4 different strains in a washing machine, you don't know which one's dumping the most, right? But when you have enough to do single source washes, then you say, oh, I got 2 ounces out of this one and only half out of this one. Like, I'm going to run that one again.
Right.
And so then we started picking out like which one's which. And then we got into breeding with those. So then we were like, well, we want this flavor, but this one washes. So put those two together and then hunt through those to find the washers. Okay. And we did that for a few years and really found some keepers and kind of played with it from there. And then we were just making bubble and like fire bubble, like lots of it. And then we were like, people were starting to make rosin. And we had like a little hair press, a hair straightener that we would put in a vise. And we were making rosin back in the day, man. It had to be 15, 12 years ago, right before we started the business. Because I remember where we were making it. And it was like right when we were like mixing on tarps in the beginning. And it was crazy, dude. And so we were making rosin, and that ended up getting confiscated during a bad time there. But anyways, we ended up getting a different press later on and trying again. And it kind of worked. We made a mess of it. And then I bought a low temp V2 on Marketplace. I got a sweet deal on it.
Was that the one that you had for the classes? And
yeah.
Yeah. I think it was
and then that's when we were like, okay, now we know like temperature, pressure, like you got to be able to understand how it works to be able to like continue improving, right? I mean, that's just how it goes. Like, you can't understand it, you're not going to be able to do better. Yeah. So it's all basically self-taught, other than like Frenchie and Marcus. And Frenchie was a big thing. And like, we don't agree on wash bags in the tank on that part, but like I said, to each his own. Like, I like my hash cleaner, and I think you might get a lower return, but you'll get a higher return on your rosin. Versus, if you don't use a wash bag, you get it more in the beginning, but the rosin is less. It wouldn't be less rosin overall. It would just be less percentage out of your total.
Okay,
that makes sense.
Yeah. No, and I think this is a one of those good things that, like you had mentioned, there's however it works for you, because it's funny, like you see everybody doing their different style, and it all ends up working out for them this way or that way. And it's definitely one of those hobbies and one of those crafts where it's like you have the certain people that believe that it should only be done this way and this is the proper way to do it, and then you got folks that are able to make it work and get that medicine or whatever it is that they need. So that's one thing that I'd like to say thank you, because that was really something that really got me down the path of doing my own sifting, making my own.
Cool.
I'd already been pressing flower rosin, right? Like that was
because you guys were basically showing us how you were doing it. I was like, damn,
and I loved it. And, I love my flower rosin, but that was I'd like to say thank you for giving me that path down to the hash rosin, and really giving me that hands-on and showing. And do you guys still do those classes from time to time?
We do. We haven't done one in almost a year now, just because it's been nuts, man. Like, we've been so busy, we don't have the time to do it. But we have people begging us for it, so we're probably going to try to do one towards the end of the summer, maybe like July, before like flower time for outdoor.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. You guys you guys present it very well. You go over to your area, and you've got all the equipment set up, and it's really like a hands-on. We're able to see exactly what it is you're looking at, and like you're pointing out like those certain sounds that you want to hear from the ice, crashing into each other, and like a lot of those little things that you could watch a video, you could do research and learn just as well, but being able to have that hands-on and someone showing you, I think is a big game changer. So
and like I was saying before, it's like once you start understanding it all, like A to Z, then you can go home and be like, all right, I'm going to take what I learned today and put it into my own fashion and do it the way I like to do it, whether it's dry sift or ice water or whatnot,
I need to try some dry sift. I know Nerd's been, he's messed with dry sift a few times, and I'd love to try that.
Yeah. Like we just ran a Dante's Inferno. And it's like one of the frostiest, purplest plants we've ever grown. And I'm usually not a fan of hard purple, just because it's usually grape, and I'm not a fan of grape. And then that's just me. I'm not saying grape is bad. It's just me. So It was super grape candy, and but it was super frosty and super sandy. So we were like, but when we harvested and dried it, it was like soft and like velvet. So I'm like, this will make zero rosin, but you would probably make the most fire full melt off of that.
Sure.
So if you did like a couple taps or a flick on a screen with that thing, man, you'd probably have like grape candy full melt. Damn. But if you tried to put that in a press, you'd probably get a 2% return. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's not a lot of juice in the heads.
Okay.
And that's really what it comes down to. Like in rosin, like certain strains just don't press well. That's just is what it is. You know, you can get a high return on hash and a low return on rosin.
Yeah. It's always a bummer when you process a plant and you're like, where the fuck did it go?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And that's why even like live rosin, like we were talking to someone the other day and they were like, yeah, I just washed, 3 or 4 pounds of material and I got a half ounce of rosin. And I'm like,
no.
Like that's gotta hurt, man, you know?
Yeah. Now what's y'all's preferred doing dried flower, or do you like doing fresh frozen?
We do a half cure. So usually we do like 7 to 10 on the vine. So we harvest 7 to 10 to hang. Usually about 50% humidity, and then we'll bucket and freeze it, and then or just bucket and wash it. We don't. It's not necessary to freeze it. It does make it a little more brittle, but I think you'll get. I think overall you're better off washing fresh, but most of the time, everyone's gonna have to freeze at some point. So we always say just bucket and freeze it then, and it's almost like a live. Not live, right? I mean, you get kind of that little bit of the that harvest flavor or aroma with like almost like a cured kind of back end, and we've seemed to like that. And then it's a little bit jammier in texture towards the end when you're pressing out the rosin. It's a little jammier. I mean, like I said, man, you get the personal preference, and then you can find that lane. Like we just hit that lane every time because we like that kind of like brownie batter, cookie dough type consistency. It's hard to, you've seen some of our.
Oh my God, it's so easy to hack into y'all's podcast. Oh my goodness, it's kind of like that scene from Hackers, and like the numbers were flying past my face. It was really cool, dude. Best advice I can give you is when you're taking RSO is to start off with small amounts. Do a half size grain of rice or even the size of a BB, like small amounts. And if you do get too high, it's okay. Chew on some peppercorn. It'll actually bring your level back down and you'll be just fine. I know that paranoia sits in and it scares you, but best thing to do is to have that good mindset is, it's okay. I'm on RSO. You're going to be healing. You're going to be just fine. If you want to find me, paranoid_grower on Instagram and paranoid grower on Discord. Peace.
Yeah, and I like that. I like y'all's method on the whipping. You guys had cut. I think you had cut a dab tool and put it into a drill. And one of you is holding the thing, and then the other one's in there with the drill, just fucking mixing it all up, and it always comes out absolutely beautiful. You should have seen the other day. So we got the propeller. Have you seen these things? No, bro. I'll take a picture of that too. It's about this big around. It looks like a boat propeller on a shaft. Shit. And so you need like at least like I'd say 4 to 8 zips of rosin to make that worth your while. So we haven't really had that single source style yet. So, but we just we ended up just washing our outdoors from last year. Inside, this, I think it was like February, March. We washed them, and it's just insane. I kind of lost my train of thought here, but no, that's awesome. Being able to use that big propeller to mix all the So we got almost a half a pound of rosin off one plant that we did last year. And we finally used the thing, bro, and it was sketchy. That's what we were afraid of. We were like, it's just gonna go everywhere, dude. We got it. Like, so he was holding it, and I was using the drill, and it went in all so nice. It was like right to the bottom.
And then I'm like, I can't lift it up because I'm just going to pull all the rosin out of the jar. So I'm like, get something else. So he's like getting something. As I'm like pulling it up, he's like pushing it off. And like, it was like, we were like, all right, we got to do this a little bit different next time. So we're going to do like a wider jar maybe so we can like kind of move it around a little bit. I don't know. It makes such a mess with whatever you use. And like, yeah, I'll tell you, when you're done at the end of the day, whatever's left on that propeller is more than some people get like out of a whole harvest. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. So you got to really have a lot to play like that. And I had bought that thing as like a gag gift maybe 6 months ago for Chris. And I'm like, we're going to use this one day, bro. I'm telling you. And so the other day,
you know that he'd be sitting there scraping the propellers off like, fuck, man, I wish you didn't get this shit.
Yeah. So I scraped that whole propeller and you put it in my pen when I left that day. And it was like 2 or 3 fills. And I was like, I don't even want the rest of it. I'm so stoned now.
That's great.
But it was funny as shit.
All that stuff that I've ever sampled from y'all, the rosin has always been top notch. There was we shout out down to Gabe at Metatron. We hung out down there for a you guys had talked about some of your products and stuff, and a bunch of people came in to kind of check everything out.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly what it was, what the name of it was, but I know it was blueberry. And you're like, we were passing around a couple joints, right? And when you're like, yep, this is blueberry something, and I hit it, and I was like, holy shit, like this is fucking blueberry, like so good. Yeah,
it's a blueberry muffin. That's the cut we got. It was from a customer. He just walked in one day with blueberry flour, and he's like, here, try this. And I took it and I smelled the bag, and I was like, holy goddamn, my friend, I've been looking for this. Like, you know it when you smell it, right? That's that type of thing where you're like, where'd you get that? And he's like, if you want, I can bring you the cut. And I was like, sure, And the next day, his dad showed up with it.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, come on in, Dad. Let's talk. So his dad was super cool, and they're both, longtime customers now. But
nice.
And it's funny, he was in the other day and he lost it. So we're actually going to be able to give it back to him. And he was like, do you still have it? And I was like, bro, I will have that till the day I die. You know what I mean?
That's
and
awesome.
Even Chris's wife has told him, like, if you get rid of that, I'm leaving.
I'm leaving with the cut. Wherever that cut's going.
Funny as shit, dude, man. That's great.
Cool, man. Yeah, no.
We actually we made some hash rosin this weekend.
Awesome. Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
That's awesome. Flavor?
Good. It's what? Queen's Banner?
Queen's Banner.
Cool.
From Light Owl.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna melt it down in the carts.
Have you done that yet?
Yeah, I'm still getting good at it, but I don't know. I've done like 5 runs so far.
You've done a handful of them. Yeah, you've made plenty of parts with them. Yeah,
because I tried it.
You get better every time.
I've tried it 2 times and I was unsuccessful, but I think it was just because maybe we do such a full spec that it was, and plus it back then when we did try it, when we decarbed it, it was so sappy, like it just wouldn't come down to the nail. So I don't know if that's like a cartridge issue or if we just didn't decarb it long enough, or maybe we went too long. I don't know. But we're definitely going to try to do that again. But yeah, I'm happy to see other people are doing it because we could not get it right. And we were like, dude, fuck this thing. Like,
So my best method so far is that I put it in, this is like one of those old smoky cream moonshine shots.
Yeah.
I put it in there and then I put it in a bag of rocks in a sous vide machine, and then I run it at 150 for like a day and a half.
Sous vide.
Yeah. Yep.
I like that. Have you tried curing in the have you heard about the rosin curing in the ultrasonic?
No.
Bro, so now you can do, so you know how like you have to like you'll marble out after you press? So you press it, fresh press in the jar. It takes like, maybe 10 days to marble out.
Yep.
So technically they say you can, and hashtag is talking about this. You take that fresh press and you set it into like an ultrasonic cleaner, right? Those like vibrating little cleaner things that people use for like jewelry and stuff. You set your jar into there, obviously not submerged in the water, just enough so it's in the water. And it's literally cured in like, I think it's like 24 hours.
No shit.
And so Chris is like, we're going to try it. Because we always wait it out. It's almost like 2 weeks sometimes, especially on larger batches. Like on that 8-ounce run, it was almost a month for that to come through. So like if you could speed that up, like that'd be great.
Yeah.
So I'm telling everybody I know, because I'm like, you know, I don't know if you know, have you ever heard of Hashtag?
No.
If you haven't, go search them on Insta, man. They got tons of cool shit, and they do like side-by-side videos and like a lot of scientific stuff that really shows. I think it's hashtag.ca, maybe.
Hell yeah.
TEK, I think it is.
Okay. Hell yeah. Nice.
But I don't know how I found them. But yeah, it's just every time they do something crazy, I'm always watching, because they do like what are those things called? Like long videos of like curing, like rosin, like they show it like a time lapse.
Oh yeah.
Of like rosin curing, and they do time lapses of decarb. They do, it's really definitely worth looking at. Their content is legit, you know.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
So.
Yeah, Nerds definitely got it down to.
It sounds like it.
He gets pretty consistent results. So, that's something I've always wanted to mess with, but I've never gotten to that spot yet.
So my original method for my first run was I bought liquid terpenes, and I would put a couple drops into flower rosin and then put it in the microwave for 5 seconds.
Whoa.
And then
how did it work?
and then syringe it into the carts. But I wanted to get off of using the liquid terpenes and have it just be the rosin. So then that's when I found the sous vide machine. Someone pointed me over to another Discord where someone had posted a whole sous vide cart guide that was like super in depth, and then I just followed that, and then I've been tweaking it from there.
What carts do you use?
I use a website called VPM.
Okay.
It's like vapor parts management, where you can buy like batteries, carts, disposables.
Cool. Yeah, because that was the thing. Like, there's just so many, right? I mean, there's, like you said, disposables are just like the tops. And then now they have like the postal ceramics and like one specifically for rosin. And like, we've tried a couple of them. Like I said, we've had just bad luck. So like, I'm just like, I use the Puffco Plus, but bro, I can't with those things anymore. So they're starting to aggravate me. I've gone through 3 new ones since I started with them. I still have my one from like 8 or 9 years ago that still works. And I took a new one just to try it, and they are amazing flavor. But I'm already on my third one, my third atomizer.
Damn, that's a
so. And if you look on their website, there are no more.
There's no more. Well, they've now switched over to that
the pivot.
The pivot. That one.
So I got one.
Okay.
Have you tried it?
So Master Yoda, he was one of the ones that went to the class with us.
Yeah.
And he got one, and yeah, I mean, it works. It definitely, I would say, has
it's a dab rig.
It's definitely a larger hit than you're getting from that little pen. But the thing I like about the pen is it's got that little tool in there. Yeah. It's really easy. The pivot's still a nice size. But I mean, at that point, I'm like, I might as well just have a proxy.
Yeah, exactly. So the way I looked at it was, the first time I got it, I like went to hit the button, and it's very confusing. Like off the bat, I'm like, you got to press one button to do the temp, then one button to do the time, and like all this shit. And I'm like, I just want to hit the button, have it heat up, you know. Right. And it's basically an automatic e-rig. Yes. You know, you turn it on, and then it's on. You know what I mean? You're hitting it until you turn it off. Right. So it's like with a pen, you're kind of like on off as you're smoking it, not just like ripping it full out like bong rip dab hit, dude. You know, and that's why I like the pen, because I can't do rigs. My lungs just, you know, too many bong rips back in the day. You know, I mean, and it's like, you know, I can't do that. So and so the first time in the pivot, I got rosin in my mouth, which that was right off the bat. I'm like, I don't like this thing already. It was first hit. And then,
fucking up.
Yeah. And then it, you know what I mean? It hurt me. Like, I was like injured from the first time. I was like, I don't even want to go back, you know? And I literally had to look up the instructions. Yeah. I had to look up the instructions on how to use it. Cause I'm like, I can't figure out why. I was like, I keep turning it on and I get it to turn on, but I don't know why. You know, I have to turn it back off. Like, why don't, you know, like, I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't a fan. And I thought they could have done better. Like, if they could have just made that pivot with the pen top from the Puffco Plus and a button that turns on and off, it would have been killer, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Those 3D XL chambers are legit. I mean, the flavor's there.
Good,
it's just there's no cover between the hole where the smoke comes out and, the chamber. So you're always going to blast it up.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's I since I've got this is pretty much it's the new peak, and I love it. My only gripe was, and it's kind of the whole thing about making it a cheaper price point, right? Like it doesn't have the screen, you can't adjust the temperatures, as in the fact of like, by points, you it's kind of like the peak or the proxy where you have like the color, it's color indication, right? But this thing rips, man. The only thing I'd like to do is get like a non-water one so I can like walk around with it, just like stick it in my pocket if I wanted to. But Puffco, I mean, I have been enjoying their stuff. So
yeah, I've always loved Puffco. I just think they know the new pluses are
garbage,
are not working. Yeah, they got issues.
My biggest thing was too is you've got to be really gentle when you clean it, because you can push the bottom out of those very easily. I've put a Q-tip right through it. So yeah.
Crazy, dude. Yeah, I don't know.
Too aggressive.
Yeah. My batteries just started acting funny, and that's how I noticed. Like I felt the chamber getting really hot in my hand when I was smoking it, like abnormally hot. I smoke it all. I've been smoking the same pen for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like I know how hot it's supposed to be, and when it's like almost burning my fingers, something's up. It's like not much more. 3-4 days, it won't work anymore after that.
Damn.
Like it's like some type of temp sensor goes bad, and then it just allows it to get as hot as it can, and then it burns the atomizer out.
Yeah,
that's my guess.
Well, hopefully they figure something else out.
Yeah. I mean, there's other ones on the market, so it's really about playing with it. But like I said, I'll just keep taking new ones off my own shelf just because I love it. Sorry.
If you're looking for any atomizers over at the Soil Makers, they are gone because Jeff has smoked them all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's cool, man. And so one of the other things that you had mentioned was your own genetics, and so you guys have a handful of different cultivars. But you've also done you go to different competitions, and you've won some awards recently.
Yep. So we hold 30 cuts. So we have 30 different strains that we've either collected, traded for, or seed hunted for ourselves over the past, I'd say, almost 20 years now. It just keeps getting longer and longer. I guess I'm getting old. And so we played a little bit back in the day with breeding, nothing crazy, just like we had a male and we took a little bit of pollen from that and splashed like a little branch from another one just to make a few seeds so we could see if it would work. Yeah. Because we always ran flower. That was our thing. It was flower and then hash. I mean, that was what we always did. So we didn't want seeds, but we found genetics that we were like, man, like, then that's what we were breeding for was for hash. So like back in the day, before people even were making wash girls, like we were doing it for ourselves, not even knowing what we were doing. We were just kind of fucking around, This
works a little bit better, so we got to run with this.
Yeah, exactly. And then we ended up finding this cheese cut that is just gnarly, dude. And we just harvested it, and we've had it at the shop for a week now. And everybody who walks in is like, dude, oh my God, it is gnarly. And, but it doesn't wash at all. It's the greasiest cut ever, but the terps are just like off the chain, dude. It's got to be 4 or 5%. And so we crossed that with a ghost cut that we had, and we made a cut. And then right after we made that, Chris's dog passed, and his name was Cash, and it was like he was a big German. I mean, the dog was amazing, dude, and like. It was Chris's boy, you know what I mean? That was like, that thing had to have lived for 20 years. I mean, it was old. And so we named the strain after it. So it was Cash 2.0, you know what I mean? We were like, because when we popped the seed, it was absolutely amazing. And we were like, we just have to do it, So,
I think
so that was kind of like that. Like, what's that?
I think you guys had some of that. I think we were washing some of that.
Most likely.
And
because that one is like, it's always 25 to 30% hash out of flour. So whatever you have in flour, you wash that, you'll get 30% return. And then you're about 90% return from rosin out of that hash. So not only does it wash well, but it presses well. And then it's like a sweet caramel kush, like it's such a an awesome flavor. And it leans a little cheesy sometimes, like in the extracts. It's just really smooth. It's very energetic, very uplifting. It's like my girlfriend calls it cleaning weed. Like it's just an amazing cut, dude. You know, it's just and it makes you feel good. And it's like one of those old school strains where you just laugh, you giggle, you know, you want to eat food, you just want to chill, you know, but it makes you like want to like do stuff like go for a hike or like, you know, whatever, you know, go garden more or whatever it is.
Yeah. That's the kind of shit I need. I do not need to be stuck on a couch because I'm.
I mean, there's a time and place, but I don't like it myself.
Yeah.
So then we started. Making regular beans. So we back crossed the cache. We had some original seed stock, so we popped that, found a male, crossed those two. We looked through 3.0s, 4.0s, and 5.0s. We didn't find anything better than what we had. We actually saw a little intersex traits going down the road, so we stopped. We were like, I think we're making it worse, at this point. So the Cash 2.0 lived on. The 3.0 got cold. It got really skunky, like almost diesel. And I don't know where it was coming from. But it had to be from the ghost, like upwards of the chem lines or the OG lines, like. It was getting like that really almost like super skunk flavor. But it would herm on itself. And that was like, we can't, and it was early, like not like a late herm, like week 2 everything. So we were like, all right, we're done. That's it.
Yeah.
And then, so we've held a GMO cut for a long time now. And so we were like, you know what, let's mess with some feminized stuff. Let's spray. Let's try to reverse the cut and see what happens. And, you know, so last year, it was last year, the year before last, it was last year. We got a spray. We talked to a ton of people because we were just going to make our own because that's how we've always kind of done it. Yeah. But when it came to that, I was like, I think I want to use like what the best people are using. And I just have to find out what that is because nobody talks about it.
Sure.
So we found one, we used that. It reversed. I mean, it reversed heavy. We put the Chem 4, we put the pure Michigan, strawberry, lemon, papaya, and the cheese in there and itself, in a tent. And we just let it do its thing. And those plants went like 15 weeks, bro. We were like, what is going on? Like, why? Like, these things have got to be finished. Like, and my buddy was like, is the male still in there? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you got to take the fucking male out.
Yeah, right.
Like, the plants are like, yeah, give me more. Give me more. I'm like, oh, fuck. So, so we ended up harvesting everything and it was fine. But, so now we actually did like a mini release. Like, we really didn't get, like, we wanted to keep probably half the stock for ourselves just to hunt through, just because it's our first reversal of that GMO. But we did pack up like 20 or 30 Chem 4 packs and maybe 15, I think it was more than that, maybe 40 Chem 4 packs. And then we did 20 of the cheese and 20 of the papaya. And the cheese went like that. Like they're already gone. The papaya is, I think there's 1 pack left of those. And then there's a bunch of GMO 4. We made sure the Chem 4 plant was bigger. And that was the thing, like the plants weren't that big. So we probably could have gotten more seeds if we did it a little bit differently. And that was our first try. So it was like, yeah. So it's like, I didn't really want to go too crazy and I didn't want huge plants because I don't want a million seeds that I can't do anything with, you know?
Right.
If it didn't work right. And it was hard to tell. Like when we were shaking the male all over everything, and like it looks like seeds, and then you squeeze it, and there's nothing there. And I'm like, I hope there's fucking seeds. That's why we just kept waiting. We're like, maybe another week. So then it was like 14, 15 weeks. I'm like, I'm cutting them down. That's just it. Yeah. If they're not done, they're not done. You know, like I'm not waiting any longer. The GMO goes 12 to 13 if you want to. So.
Okay.
At that point, I was like, maybe we should just let them go that long, you know? And
for sure.
And so, yeah, so we actually are running right now. We're hunting through the GMO S1. So GMO on GMO and GMO cheese, because that cheese is just gnarly, dude. Oh, yeah. So, and with the GMO, I just don't see how any progeny from that can be bad. But you never know. That's the whole thing. Like I said, that cash, we didn't think anything would ever be. We thought we would skunk that one out, and it was just hermy. So that's what you run into, you know? So you just gotta know. So, and that's the thing. I want to run through the 4s. You know what I mean? The GM, like what are we going to find in the GMO times GMO? So we're kind of trying to do a million things at the same time. But yeah, so the next reversal is probably going to be a chem. So we're probably going to do like the 91, which we just got, or the 4, and then hit it on all our other chems because we have now completed our collection. We have the 4, we have the 3, 4, the 91, the cis, and the D.
Nice. And now, if anybody was curious to get any seed stock that you do have available, how would they go about that?
They can just come on an in-store. We do have a website, but we really haven't set it up right. And so we aren't really sending people there, but it will be up and running in the next like few months once we have, because we didn't have enough seed stock to even do like a release online. So it was like, I was like, I don't even want to try to do it and sell, 10 packs. Like it's going to sell out in the first minute. And I hate when people do that. So, I mean, that's a personal thing, but,
Sure.
So we were like, let's just kind of ride it out and see what happens. And yeah, because we've been kind of doing cuts and stuff like that. So trying to help people get good genetics. And, I mean, it's tough out there. There's a lot of mislabeled cuts, and not that it makes it bad. It just makes it not what it is. And
not what it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think that, like the 91, like we've ran 4 different cuts of Chem 91, and not one has been what I remember as running Chem 91 back in the day. Because back in the day, we ran all the chems. And so we know exactly what we're looking for. And when when I hunt through a 91 cut I just got, and it tastes like OG Kush, like, yeah, it's great. It's a great OG Kush. It's just not Chem 91. And that's what I want.
For sure.
So I had to beg Skunk VA to just give me his cut because, everyone else is like, oh, I've got it. And I'm sick of wasting my time running cuts that I don't know are real. So we made a deal. Skunk VA sent me a cut, and that was that. And so we got it maybe a month ago. It was small, and it was from Montana. So it was a hard ride over. It was just about dead when I got it.
Oh, no.
And I nursed it back, and she's probably yay big now. She's just starting to self-top. So she's going to start opening up, and then she's going to go under that new ceramic. So that should be pretty epic.
Nice. That's going to be exciting, man. I'm really excited to see what you guys cook up. And, I have dipped my toes. I mean, that I'm mostly an autoflower grower, but I did start dipping my toes into some photos. So I've got some photos going right now. And soon I think probably this fall I'm going to run my room with photos in it. So I'll definitely have to keep an eye on you guys and possibly pick up a pack or something.
Yeah, come on down, man. Because we had, like I said, we didn't even release the Pure Mesh GMO. We didn't release the Strawberry Lemon GMO, which I have behind me, and we have a Strawberry Lemon GMO in there.
Okay.
Hunting in that. And then we have the GMO on GMO, which we haven't released yet because we haven't released the cut. So it's one of those cuts where it's just everything all in one, man. And you know what I mean? And we had looked, we've grown so much that it's like hard to find stuff that you like on a consistent basis. And we just love that thing. So,
That's awesome.
And it washes. It's ridiculous, dude. Like it washes really well. The terps come through really well. It presses really well. Like that's what we're looking for. So
for sure. I can dig it.
Yeah, man.
Now, awards.
Oh yeah.
You guys have entered different cups and stuff like that. There was a recent one I saw you guys have posted. The award and everything. What kind of awards have you guys won over these years?
Well, we only entered 2 so far. We were a little worried to do it originally, just because we've always kind of been, in the shadows. That's how we were legacy growers, man. Like we grew when it was illegal to grow, and that was tough to do. We've had to deal with the repercussions of that,
Right.
And we don't talk about that much, but, I don't think anybody does. And I think because we don't want to remember how that was, waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to, someone kicking your door down.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so we entered the XBO 2 times, or the Expo 2 years in a row. We took second the first year in sativa with the GMO, which we think it's a sativa. Everyone kind of doesn't think that, but I mean, a 13-week plant, bro. I don't know any indicas running 13 weeks. So,
right.
And then last year we did almost every category, just throwing things in there to see what would hit. We ended up, and I just know this by asking them, but we took 6th in sativa, 8th in indica, 1st in outdoor, and 3rd in rosin.
Fuck yeah.
So that wasn't bad. That was like, and those were kind of just like, what we had lying around at that point. So this year we're going to come heavy. We're probably going to head up to NECAN next year in Boston.
Okay.
With a couple of cuts. And then the guy who holds our Chem 4 for us entered it into the Chem Sour comp down in Brooklyn. Have you heard about that one?
I have heard of that place. I didn't really keep up with anything, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. So they're doing chems and sours, which was like, that's like our thing, bro. So it's like, we were like, holy shit, like we didn't even know that existed. And now they have a cushion sour. And so they're doing a chem sour and then a cushion sour. So we have a really nice OG Kush that we've had for a long time. And we're probably going to bring that there next year. And then we're going to bring because he took 2nd place with our 4 this year.
No shit.
Yeah. So it was Chem 91 took 1st, Chem 4 took 2nd, Chem D took 3rd. And you're talking, these are like big players. And he just went down there and like threw his entry in and took 2nd. So, I mean, you're talking like aficionados down there, Skunk VA's down there, fucking, OG Kush is down there. He's the guy who created it originally. Like, there's a lot of big players down there. So to see our 4 take 2nd, we were kind of like, whoa. That's awesome. Like even Skunk VA was like, I've never ran the 4. He's never ran it. He's never even tried the flower. Okay. So he was able to get some flower of it and try it. And he was like intrigued by it. He was like, this is different than I ever thought it would be because he didn't pop. So Skunk VA didn't pop any of them. Chem Dog popped the 91. He popped the ABCDs. Joe Brand was the one who popped the 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And they kept the 4 was the best. The 3 was very skunky but runty. And the 1 and 2 were, I think 2 was a male. 1 was kept. You'll see it here and there. Chem Dog 1. I haven't really seen it much, but the 3 is really runty, but very much like the D. The 91 is all gas. So that's what we're looking at. It's like chem, gas, chem. That's what we always remember as like the original diesel, right? When you saw packs of diesel, that's 91 because they just renamed it because they were calling it Chem Dog and people didn't like the name. So they just called it diesel. And you can talk to AJ about that. So, but we ended up getting the AJ sour. But anyways, I don't get way off topic. So, but we're going to go down and we'll probably do the chems down in the chem comp. We're probably going to bring the whole pack. So we'll do the D, the 91 and the 4 and slap those in. And then we're going to do the Kush sours. And then we're going to bring some crazy shit to the expo next year and then NECAN. So we kind of got our hands full, but we're trying to pump. That's why I got the new tent for the metal halide. Because I'm like, we want to see, because I know that's what my buddy in Mass ran under to take 2nd. Okay. So I'm like, maybe I need to do it because he always likes our flower of the 4 better than his own. So, but I always think his look is better than ours because he's under the halide. So, so we're going to play with that this year and see what, can come out of that.
Hell yeah. I may have to, if you guys are going to be going up to NECAN, I might have to come check that out. Cause I did
for sure.
I did go a couple of years ago and it was cool. It's definitely more, a lot of big companies and stuff like that, but they've got a cool setup, man. It's a cool place. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's just there's a lot of good people. See, we want to compete with people who are there trying to bring like really really good unique genetics. I mean, I think that's really what it is. I'm not saying that anyone isn't doing that, but
sure.
I mean, really, I don't know, man. I don't want to sound conceited or anything like that. It's like we just want to compete with other people who are trying to put out their best product, and I think everybody tries to do that, right? I mean,
competition, right? Like you don't want to go somewhere where like, I already know I'm going to be the best at this, and I'm just going to sweep everybody, right? Like you want a little bit of a fight.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why the Chem Sour really intrigued me because those guys they're all coming with the heat, man, and that's what it really seemed like, and I love to just congregate with that crew, you know what I mean, with people like that. And my buddy had a booth down there with all CD. and they said it was amazing. They said everybody was super cool, and it was great combos, and so that's kind of where we want to be at. And it's like, we just want to start doing more competitions that are more like local and like heads like our own versus just trying to go and grab a trophy.
Right. No,
but I mean, it's all in fun, man. I mean, but back in the day, we were like, man, if we could only put this in a competition and see how it fares up. I mean, you never know until you like put it in there and see like, what is everybody else running? What does everybody else think is their best, right?
Sure.
But when you talk to a lot of people, they're like, oh, I had to rush my entry, or and it was the same with us. So, I don't think everybody brings their best every time, and I think that sometimes people nail it right on the head, and sometimes they don't, and I think that.
Just keep showing up.
It's luck of the draw, and the timing.
Keep plugging away.
Yeah, exactly.
I can dig it. Now, other than that, man, I mean, obviously we are on outdoor gardening season.
Yes.
You got anything that you're looking forward to, veggie, cannabis, and otherwise?
So we are doing. Oh man, we are doing AJ Sour out this year. So we have 2 big AJ Sour. We always hook up a buddy with our GMO cut to run it. It's just for us. But we run it in like a specific spot every year that she loves. So we just keep putting it there.
Yeah.
And then I've got a lemonade, strawberry lemonade, a Chem 4, and a Gorilla Breath that I'm putting out this year. Okay. And then I do I've always done like a Gorilla style. And I always put like new cuts out to see what works well outside.
Yeah.
So I'll put them out in like a month, maybe July 1st. So they don't get really big, but I can get myself a one wash bag sample. So then I can wash one single source strain of that plant. And we wash the whole thing. We wash all our outdoors. We don't smoke any of the flower. Yeah. We do sometimes, but and not that we don't want to. It's just we want the rods, and the terps outside are just incredible, bro.
Yeah, I am really excited. I've got my first couple, like I said, my photos, and they are outdoors. So again, I rushed to get them started, so I'm gonna have to do some damage control because I don't want them getting big. And as of right now, they're like potential like fucking like 14 footers. And I'm like,
so that's the thing.
That.
Yeah, like everybody always wants to go out somewhere. Like I haven't even planted my veggies yet, and I tell everybody like I think that's the reason a lot of people are having more issues than not, is because they're just going out too early. And like every year it seems to be earlier and earlier, and I'm like, the way it works is if you put out early, you just don't have the hours in the day, so your plants are going to stretch because they're looking for that light. So if you're, if I say if you're going to go out early, at least try to match or come closer to the outdoor timing. Then you won't stretch so much, because if you stretch as soon as you plant, then you get these lanky plants right off the bat. And if that happens, just top the shit out of them. Just cut them right in half. You still have almost 3 months of veg time. So it's I think people forget how long the season really is. Like you can put a plant out July 1st and have, almost a half a pound. So, and I'm talking like, just put it there and forget about it. Come back in 4 months and you can just have your pick, dude. So, I think that, if you're going to put it in early, be prepared for that, be prepared to have a bigger plant. And, I dealt with hemp borers last year. Oh, and really? I had never seen anybody dealing with this. And I wasn't sure if it's a hemp borer or corn borer, but it was definitely a borer. And so this year I was like, I'm not even putting my plants out there till after June. And so we have an elderberry out there in my garden, and I was out there last night, and it's loaded with these borers. Oh. So I'm like, hopefully they came and left, and now I can plant and they won't be on my pot. Because last year I ended up injecting spinosad into my stems and killing the caterpillars.
Oh, no kidding.
So I was able to kill them all. I only lost like one branch on my papaya last year, but it was insane, bro. Like you just see like this little, it almost looks like worm poop on the stem. And then when you rub the poop off, it's just a hole. And that's where they lay their egg. And the poop coming out is when the larva hatches. Gotcha. And it starts eating the stem, and it poops it out the back. And then once it's in the stem, you don't see it anymore. Right. And it works its way up or down. You never know which way it's going to go. Hopefully not down, because if it goes down, it goes into the crown, and then that's it. The whole plant will die.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I'd never seen anybody have that issue. So it was just crazy. And so hopefully this year I don't get them. But I know my elderberry just took a.
That sucks.
Yeah, I'll take a picture of it and shoot you just to have a reference. Sure. But I was like asking everybody, I'm like, everybody's seen hemp borers? Like I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And I'm very like on it. Like I'll see the shit that nobody else really sees, just because I'm always looking for that weird shit. And I couldn't believe my eyes, man, Yeah, because I've dealt with like squash vine borers, right?
I dealt with them last year. Last year they got me a couple times.
Yeah. Yep. So spinosad, that's the only way to do it, man.
Okay.
Like, and you just don't spray it on your flowers because it'll kill bees. So I always like really tell people like don't use it unless you have to. But with the borers or the cabbage moths, spinosad works great, dude.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Is there any tips that you would recommend for any either outdoor or indoor gardeners that you're that you think that people fall short or overlook that you would want to drive home to?
I would say less light is better than more light. I think that's a big issue.
Howling loves to hear that. Howling loves to hear that.
I think people just want to hammer, 5,000 watts over their plant because they think it's going to make it better. Sure. It can if you want to run CO2, you know what I mean? Pump it. But I just truly think that everyone's way over their wattage for what their plants can actually uptake. And, that's probably the cause of issue a lot of times in stress on plants.
Yeah.
Because it also affects you. Yeah. And it affects your VPD. It affects the way the plant's responding. Like, right. And like, if you turn it down, sometimes you can almost feel the difference in the room. Like we have our big room. When we turn the lights down, you can feel it's like a different energy in the room, man. So, the plants will pick that up, and I think that, being able to feel that where your too much limit is important. Less is more, less is more. If you have a good organic soil, let it do the work for you. I think people are trying to make it, always try to make it better. It's like, I think if you that's why we always tell people, get yourself a baseline, like run the soil water only, get a baseline. Then you can start adding from then on. If you like it at your baseline, why add anything else?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Outside, man, trellising. Okay. Get trellises up early. Don't wait because, if you get a heavy windstorm or a thunderstorm mid-year with no trellising or staking, if you scrog outside, you can double your yield like easily.
That's what I should do. Maybe I should build a thing around it and start scrogging that motherfucker out.
Yeah. Chris did one plant. It was 4 feet by 13 feet, 2 pounds.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, it was the craziest plant I'd ever seen in my life. I have pictures of it. It is fucking huge, dude.
Holy shit.
It took us half a day to harvest. And it was a little under 2 pounds, and it was a little over 8 ounces of rosin.
Wow.
Crazy. 7. Like a little under 8 ounces of rosin. Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy, dude. It was crazy.
Someday I'll get there. But K&F, I know you've messed around with making your own inputs and stuff like that. Is there anything that you got going on that you do regularly, or how do you do your amendments out in your garden like that?
We've done the comfrey for years. Like I grow comfrey, Chris does too. We've been making the comfrey ferment for a while. We finally got it where we wanted it for stabilization. It's really hard to get those ferments stable without using a pH stabilizer or like a stabilizer for solution. And so we kind of had to it's like almost a double ferment is how we do it, but I don't want to give my secrets away. But yeah, it's like a double ferment basically, which gives us enough sugar and enough pH to be able to hold it. And then, and that's worked out well. We saw a lot of that. It's really good. It's got, we use our own lactocultures that we've been making the same way for 20 years. We've made BIM years ago. We made IMOs. I mean, this was when Gil Carandang was teaching on the logical farmer. All right. I mean, I don't even know if you guys know what that is. That was when
I've never heard of it. Yeah.
This was before KNF was even a thing. It was called the logical farmer. Gil Carandang, he was from the Philippines. his buddy Justin was a good friend of mine, and Justin went out to do an apprenticeship with Gil in the Philippines. And I just happened to like know Justin before he left. So when he got there, he was like talking to me like once a week, and they barely had internet out there. It was crazy, dude.
Huh.
So we were making fruit ferments 15 years ago. I'd be not 20, maybe 15 years ago. And people are like, what the fuck are you doing? Like you're like making beer, like, you know, and making like fermented soil. Like it's so weird.
Yeah.
You know, and then our fruit ferment killed it. Like we were giving it to our buddies. They were like, I need more of that.
Yep.
And we ended up losing the recipe in a move. And I don't know. I still look for it for this day because I sent it to like 2 or 3 different people, and I lost contact with those people. So I'd love to get in contact with those people and get that recipe back. But either way, we can remake it. You know what I mean? Like I remember the basics of it. But that will probably be this year. We'll probably do a fruit ferment.
Hell yeah.
And it'll be like
I know I've been pushing
style.
you guys for that. I was like, man, yeah, I love the comfrey, but you guys got any fruit ones? Come on.
Yeah. So that will be this year for sure. And we get crazy with it. Like we do strawberry leaves because they have a ton of calcium. So like it's not just fruit, but we know what we want to add. And it's like those, we remember the specific things we added to the other one that made it so good. And the only reason I just happened to learn that it was like in an encyclopedia of plants book one day. And I was at like a book sale and I read that and I was like, huh. And I used to grow a shit ton of strawberries. So I went out there and I'd chop all the leaves down and ferment them and shit. And we were testing back then. And when we would add that in, the calcium like skyrocketed. And we were like, wow, that's crazy. Like bioavailable calcium from strawberry leaves. Well, who would have thunk it?
Right? That's what I was about to say.
It's crazy shit like that, man. Like we've always been messing around. Like Chris and I are crazy. So we go down the rabbit hole and we stay down there for a while. You know,
I love it. I'm gonna. That's why I keep my eyes on you guys and keep seeing what you're doing. And you've got to support it with me. Like I said, that's the stuff that I'm using now. So, but what do you guys got planned? And anything cool for like the future goals for soil makers? Anything coming out or anything you want to work towards that you're willing to share?
Well, we got labels coming out this year. I just posted a thing yesterday. It shows our new Alico label, the new seed and clone label. We'll probably try to get those. What's that?
You need to get stickers.
Yeah, stickers. So that is next on the list. We wanted to get these labels done first because our printing company likes everything at the same time.
Gotcha.
So we have the slaps are already ready. They just need to get put into production. The product labels are a little trickier because there's a lot of like fixing things and like readjusting things, and our guy is out of Tokyo or Taiwan, so it's the time change is a little crazy and all that. Yeah. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I know we've got a couple side deals going on with a couple big time garden centers in Connecticut. If that does go through. Basically you can buy a bag of soil in an end game and you get it delivered to your house for free.
No shit. Okay.
So that would be nice. The only issue with that is we wouldn't advertise that for them because we're going to really hurt our other distributors with that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So if you find out who that is and you can do it, like, you know what I mean? Like we would mention it. You would just have to go to their website and find that, item, that says like, over this amount is a free delivery to your home. And they have like a delivery truck that drives around and delivers stuff. So it'd kind of be like an Amazon thing, but you'd have to spend, I think it was like $49. So it wasn't bad. It's a bag of soil, bag of endgame delivered to your house for free.
Yeah. Can't beat that. No.
But we're still working the details with that because they want to store everything outside and we didn't want to play with that. So that's kind of the hiccup in that belt, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's little by little, we're trying to grow. We've been looking at building a bigger facility for years. It's tough out there. Real estate property right now is not, you don't really want to get involved in that, but we haven't really found the spot that works for us. We don't want to go far from where we're at just because we like the area. So it's really about trying to locate something. I think at this point, we're just going to end up buying land and building on it and building what we want. But that's not going to be for 5 years at least. So, at this point, it's not even worth talking about. But yeah, I mean, we definitely have room for expansion. And I mean, we've talked about doing some different soils, stuff like that. I mean, I don't like to make it too complicated, and neither does Chris. And that way we can keep up with our consistency and the product quality. And if you make too much stuff, sometimes quality drops and consistency drops, and so it's really about trying to keep everything in line and making sure we're not skimping on for any reason, and then and then coming up with new stuff all in all. But new ferments this year for sure. I don't remember. I'm working on a couple other things. I just don't know if they're going to be ready this year. So, but but we can get into that next time for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, listen, I think we're towards the end here. I appreciate you coming to hang out with us and sharing all your knowledge. We'll definitely have to plan to get you on the crew. We've got Paranoid Grower. I know he would love to pick your brain, and yeah, so thank you again, and thank you for everything that you do to the community. Thank you for the knowledge that you share and spending your morning with us.
You're welcome, man. Yeah, I know. I appreciate you guys having us on. We appreciate the love, man. We really do. Like, that's what we're here for, is to try to help people, grow the best cannabis they can. And then, on top of that, if they can grow it better than their buddies, what's better than that, right? So I think it's really about, helping the community come together. And really protecting genetics that, and helping people get their hands on genetics that helps them, and when I say protect genetics, I don't mean gatekeeping. I mean, like, keeping them alive, like some of these genetics, like you can just think about how many raids have thrown away genetics that were absolutely amazing. Right. So, or just that people lost their plants or whatever it might be, but
sure.
That's something that I really think people, should do. But yeah, I appreciate you having us on, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You got any shout outs or any plugs that you want to finish up with before we?
I mean, all our distributors for sure. Metatron, Rhode Island Hydro, or Ocean State Hydro, sorry. And then we got Matt's Hydroponics, Mass Hydroponics. Noah's Ark's a new one down there, down by Metatron.
Is it Gold Coast carries y'all stuff too?
Gold Coast, they do. They're kind of going through an ownership change right now, so I'll let them decide because I think they're going to change the name of the business.
No shit.
So yeah, Gold Coast does have our stuff right now if you want to go down there and get it. And then 86 Grow over in East Hartford. So yeah, I definitely like to shout out our distributors because we really appreciate them.
Hell yeah. Cool. I appreciate you. Nerd, you got anything to wrap her up here?
No.
Solid. All right, guys. Well, listen, I appreciate everybody hanging out and listening in, and we'll see you next time. Peace.